Greetings YouTube! I now have an external hard drive fitted to my PS5. Very exciting. Well, sort of. It's not that exciting actually. 5 terabytes because the built-in memory is only 1 terabyte. Anyway, transferred a bunch of games over to it, then realised I had now a shitload of space. So I decided to reinstall a game that I have to keep on installing and deleting as I get other things onto the hard drive because it takes up so much space. Conan Exiles. I think it's something like 125, 126 gigabytes at this point, and that's probably due to the Isle of what's its name, septic tank or whatever it's called. Anyway, I don't have that. I know it's not called that, but whatever. So I fired it up and I discovered that there have been some changes. I have no idea when these changes happened, but I like them. I like them. I've made a little bit of a list. The list is not on screen. There it is. Now, one of the changes that I noticed straight away was this building system, because before, the building system, usually everything has like a yellow outline to it when you put something down on the ground. Now it has a green outline. Oh, I thought to myself at first, this is to stop the yellow of the outline from clashing with the yellow of the sand so that you can see it better. At least that's what I thought initially. Turns out it's not that. Because when you build stuff, there's such a thing called stability. At least I think that's what it's called. If you build away from a foundation, the structure becomes less and less stable. And here you can see that it's not green anymore, it's yellow. And now it's sort of an orange colour, and now it's red, and now it won't let me build. Because I've moved that particular floor has moved too far away from a foundation, so it's not properly supported, so it won't let you go any further. So the stability system is still there, but now it's color coded. Now you can see how far away from the actual center you're getting. See, I can't put the building piece on the end there. I like that. Now, one of the changes they've made is quite welcome. I wasn't expecting it, but it's this, the small animal pen. It's not small. It's basically a stables, except whereas the stables are only for horses, this is for everything else. Now normally this is the animal pen, and it's still called the animal pen, and it's a monster. It takes up a lot of space, but it has a whopping 5 slots. Now, by my reckoning, you could probably get maybe 3 or so. 3 of these small pens in the same space you could get the normal size pen in, which has 5 slots. So it's not exactly... If you want 5 slots, the animal pen, the regular animal pen, is still better. But if you're a bit pushed for space, this is a good solution. It's nice to have options instead of having that massive heffalump of a thing in your bloody base. You've got a small pen now. That's very welcome. I think it's fair to say that this game has a few niggling issues. Few niggled quite as much as the crafting system. Whoa! Because if you go into the skills menu, ordinarily you just have your tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 building pieces. The problem started when you started to amass your DLC collection, because the DLC pieces are all invariably tier 3s. And everything just gets added to the long building list. So here at the top you've got Aquilonian stuff, tier 3 building pieces. Well, what if you don't want the tier 3 building pieces? What if you just want to make a bloody pick? Well, where are the picks? Guess. There it is. All the way at the bottom, past all the building pieces. And if you come out of it, oh my god, you have to go all the way down to the bottom of the list again. Who the hell thought this was a good idea? Now, the game has always had a filtering system. The problem is that in the past the filtering system didn't work. Or should I say, it simply blacked out the things that you weren't interested in. So you selected the first filter, which was like weapons, tools, that kind of thing. It would just black out everything else. But you'd still have to scroll past everything else. There was no organisational system. Now, when you click L3, it's all gone! It's basically taken out everything. Excuse me. It's taken out everything that isn't relevant. It doesn't just black it out anymore. It just gets rid of it. Completely. Gone. Fantastic. Of course, that does mean if you go across to building pieces, you do still have to scroll all the way down to find the sandstone pieces and such like, because, and especially the Yamatai pieces, because it's in alphabetical order. So the Yamatai building pieces are at the bloody bottom. They've already thought of that. If you click L3, if you click R3, sorry, it filters the DLC. So instead of showing you everything, now it's showing me none. None of the DLC pieces, it's just showing me the standard pieces. If I click it again, Imperial East. It's just showing me the Imperial East building pieces. If I want the Yamatai pieces, I just click until I get to Seekers of the Dawn. And it just shows me those building pieces. I'm tempted to say, why wasn't this in the game sooner? But I'm happy they finally done this. It needed doing because holy shit, this game has so much content, especially if you have the DLC. Damn, there's a lot of stuff here. I haven't got everything, but I've got a lot of it. It really needed sorting out. And they've finally done it. Your inventory also does it. So if I select armour, the armour stays on top, the building pieces are at the bottom. If I select building pieces, they come to the top and the armour gets pushed down. So you can still see everything. But it's still filtered. Much better. Much better. Now some other changes that have occurred in the crafting system. They've not just tidied up your own personal crafting menu. They've done a bit of tinkering with the crafting system in general. So before, with armour, what you'd have to do is you'd have to go out, kill a crocodile, take its skin, reptile skin, and then you'd take it to the armourer's bench and strip the skin for its hide. And then, if you wanted medium armour, certainly, you'd have to tan the hide at the tannery to create leather, and then take the leather back to the armourer's bench to actually make the medium armour. So you had to kind of go there, back, and there in order to make this armour. You had to go back and forth between these two stations. Now, stripping crocodile skin to make the hide, to get the hide, has been shifted onto the tanner's table. So now, instead of going 1, 2, 1, you now go 1, 2, 3 with these crafting stations. There's now an extra crafting station that separates things out, so things aren't so cluttered on the armourer's table anymore. I was wondering where all the armour had gone for a second there. I was like, wait, what? Where is it? Oh yeah, I forgot the filters were there. Anyway, momentary confusion. So another change on the armourer's bench. You used to have to make a light piece of padding for the helmet, a light piece of padding for the chest, a light piece of padding for the gloves, a light piece of padding for your legs, a light piece of padding for your feet. And then you had to create the helmet, the body armour, the gloves, the greaves, the boots. Now, the padding is not 5 separate items, it's just one. You just make 5 of the same item now. And the icon is just this basically rectangular strip of cloth. So not only can you no longer get confused between light armour chest padding and light armour chest, You now don't have to make 5 separate items. You don't have to go scrolling through all of them. And the icons are clear. Light padding. It's just a piece of cloth. Brilliant change. Love it. And as I said before, the sort system for these crafting benches, by the way, the filters all work on the crafting benches as well, not just in your own personal inventory, which is great. Now the next thing along here, the artisan table. Now this is a slight change, which I kind of approve of. The artisan table no longer makes torches. I mean, that's a witchfire torch, that's high level. But a regular torch? You now make in your own personal inventory. You no longer need the artisan table to do it. Which I think is better, generally speaking. You can make both torches and bracketed torches now. You can just, if you go past all of the DLC, wherever it is, down at the bottom still, but it's not as much a trek as it was, bracketed torch. You just make it by hand now. Same goes for the standing torch and the protected torch. You don't need this workstation anymore. This still makes stuff, but again, I'm confused as to why the filter isn't changing. It's because I've got it set on the wrong thing. I'm still getting used to this, in case you hadn't noticed. Another thing they've changed. You used to make the glass flask mould. God, I hate saying that. It hits my ear wrong, does that? Glass flask. It's just... bottles. Fucking bottles, let's call them. The bottle mould used to be made at the blacksmith bench, and the bottles used to be made in the furnace. You just drop the bottle mould in the furnace along with your glass, set the furnace running, and it cooked it for you. Bottle making has now been relegated to its own bench as well, the casting table. So now this is over here on this bench instead. It's not much of a change. I mean, me personally, I never got confused over this. The only thing about glass that used to confuse the fuck out of me was how you get your hands on it in the first place, because traditionally in these kind of games you grab sand and put it in the furnace and cook it. There's sand everywhere in this game, but you can't pick it up. Took me ages to work out that you're supposed to get crystal and melt that to make glass, and then I had to find the bloody crystal. Yes, I know there's an imp cave near the beginning bit. I know where to get it now, but I don't really like the look of the casting table, by the way. Just on a personal note, it's a bit too messy for my liking. But now the bottle making is on a different bench. Another thing I spotted, very thankful for this. On the right is a steel sickle. And that's a tool that's been in the game since, as far as I'm aware, forever. Or at the very least a long time. Thing is, the steel sickle's made of steel. I'm guessing you can figure that out on your own. Figure that out on your own. The thing is that steel is a material that you can only make at level 30. Which meant that this was a pretty high level piece of gear for something that just cut grass a little bit quicker than your hands. It never made any sense to me, did that? Stop stretching. The thing on the left is an Iron Sickle. I've never seen this before. It's made of iron, which is a level 10 material. So you can now make a sickle pretty early on in the game. You don't have to wait until you're halfway towards the end game or some shit. You can actually get some use out of a sickle. I'm not sure if I will use a sickle, but it's there. It's nice to know that I don't need steel to make it. I suppose a stone sickle would have been a bit of a reach, you know what I mean? But then again, we have things like stone swords, so I don't know, suspension of disbelief. But whatever, it's easier to get your hands on a sickle now. Dye. Is there anything there? No, I can't remember how I built this place. Dyer's bench. This used to be on the Firebowl Cauldron. Firebowl Cauldron. Now dyes are relegated to their own place. All of the colours are on here, and I swear they've added some colours. Some of these colours are a lot brighter than I remember. I don't remember full green dye, There was green dye, but not full green dye. We've got full purple dye, full blue dye, full yellow dye. All sorts of really bright colours now. Deep sea green and blood red, blighted green. You get the point. So all of that has been taken off the Firebowl Cauldron. Speaking of which, the Firebowl Cauldron now only makes a small select things. It still makes like your alchemical base, your dragon powder and your steel fire, which you definitely need to make steel, your stone consolidant. It no longer makes potions either, because they have been relegated to the Alchemist bench. So you've now got all your standard potions like your aloe extract, your basic healing potion. That's now on the Alchemist bench instead. Now, one thing did occur to me. Oops, the game's temporarily frozen. Probably because I'm playing it from the hard drive, from the external hard drive. But one thing that did occur to me, getting a hold of these brand new benches. Don't worry, because normally, oops, wrong button. I know what I'm doing really, sort of. Normally, to get your hands on the furnace and the blacksmith bench, you would purchase the skill blacksmith, and that requires you to be a level 10. If I scroll down though, you can see glass flask mould, casting table, which is where you make the bottles. So even though there's a new crafting bench, you still get it with the same skill points. You purchase the skill that gives you where the bottles used to be made, and you get the place where the bottles are now made thrown in. You don't have to spend any more skill points, any extra skill points on these new crafting stations, is my point. You will need some more materials and a fair bit more space. I mean, Jesus Christ, have you seen the size of this casting table? It's huge. And the dyer's bench isn't much better. So you need lots more space, but you don't need any more skill points, which is good. There's also this, the Orb of Nergal. I knew it was something like that. The Orb of Nergal. Looks extremely sinister, but if you access it, you can change your character in mid-game. Me personally, I never thought this feature was missing from this game. I mean, let's be honest, you're in the Exiled lands. Where the fuck are you going to find a hairdresser? But now you can. You can change things. Race is just like the starting point. It's like presets, but you can even select a race if you want. Voice, head, face, body features, all that kind of stuff. You can change all of this in mid-game. You can just tweak it all and make your character way bigger. Well, I say way bigger. I'm only realising now how little the height difference actually makes. It doesn't make much of a difference changing the height of your character. But you can now change all that. You can't change your character's gender, and because it's a skill, technically, you can't change their religion. Some of you may have noticed already, some of you may not. Her outfit is flapping in the wind. She's on the smallest size setting. The clothing bug is gone! On console. This is the PS4. I won't swear to the other consoles, but it's gone! The clothing bug! After several years of making excuses that, well, we've always got this glitch to fix and this bug to fix. Yeah, but that's because you keep on adding DLC to the game. You keep on introducing more bugs with more features, therefore you are giving yourself a longer list of bugs. For me, it was an excuse not to fix this. Normally, your clothing only flaps around when you're at 50% height. And now it flaps around at every height. I've just set my character to full size. The outfit is still flapping. It's still doing it. It's temporarily frozen. I really wish it had stopped doing that. Many irritations in this game. I mean, the one where it stands out to my mind is obviously Deketo's outfit, because this outfit, well, let's be honest, the skirt is just basically a few ribbons attached to a shoestring up your ass. But look at it, the ribbons actually fall and wave in the wind like they're supposed to. Because normally, if the clothing glitch, this would just be a black and gold striped skirt that was glued to your legs. It was really fucking obvious that it was wrong. Really obvious. It was bad. But now, it's fine. It's fine. You can just adjust the size of the character back to minimum, for example, and it continues to do it. It's great, they fixed it. I think that's about it. That's all I noticed anyway. I mean, get off. There's probably other stuff that I haven't spotted yet. Like, for example, I did see this on the Armourer's thing. It says Tinker's Bench. I can't remember whether Tinker's Bench was in the game to start with, though, so I didn't say anything. Oops, I just did. There's probably other stuff I've missed. But all of these alterations, very welcome. They have improved. The crafting system in particular needed improving. And that is much better now. So yeah, very happy with the changes. Some of these changes were probably from ages ago. Some of them were more recent, I don't doubt. But yeah, they fixed a lot of stuff. Me likey. Me likey a lot. I'm going to stop wittering and boring you all to death now. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe and share, all that jazz. See you next time.